what the number one professional skills that hiring managers are looking for and how to develop them and use them in a particular way so that you can enhance your opportunities to get a job in the future. So first things first, before you even have to think about sort of the top skills that are needed in order for a particular job and the job that you actually want to get hired in, you have to first determine what type of career path that you're actually going for. So there's a number of different career paths out there, such as engineering, there's business, there's finance, there's accounting, there's science, there's history. There's a number of different career paths that are out there. And each of them are going to have their own intrinsic set of skills that are necessary for those particular jobs. For the sake of today, we're going to be going over sort of the number one attributes that are going to be the most applicable for pretty much every job that is out there. And if you have these particular skills and develop them, then you are going to be at the forefront of the candidate pool, mainly because these are the skills that pretty much everyone looks for unique as hiring managers is anybody that they want to bring into their own particular company. I'm going to be going over each of these skills for probably approximately about 15 minutes. And then we're going to leave it open for maybe 5 to 10 minutes if there's any questions afterwards. So the top skills that hiring managers are looking for and that businesses need, even in sort of a depressed economy, like a recession that we're going into because of COVID, because of a lot of things that are happening in the environment, because businesses are going down, it doesn't matter, because if you have the ability to show these skills, these core skills on a resume, in an interview, in person, to an employer, this is going to amplify your ability to get hired. So just as a quick rundown, we're going to go through each of these, but the top skills that hiring managers are looking for is commercial awareness. This can also be known as business acumen. So this is a brief set. This is sort of the industry knowledge that somebody has and their ability to keep a pulse on whatever it is that they're doing. So if you're in history, you have to have a solid understanding of whatever is happening in sort of the history environment, as well as business, what's happening in the business environment, accounting, finance, whatever that might be. It's having an understanding of sort of what your industry is doing at this particular moment, and you having the ability to understand and know what's going on. So for a lot of finance people out there right now, this is critical, mainly because we're going into a recession. This is something that's completely brand new. Stock market is going all over the place. The oil market is going all over the place in terms of oil prices and stuff like that. And that has a huge impact on business. That has a huge impact on sort of how society runs and operates. So as anybody that's in the business sector, you have to be able to understand what is going on from an economic point of view and how that can impact whatever business that you're particularly going into at that point. The second one is communication. The third one is teamwork. The fourth one is problem solving. Then we have leadership. Then we have initiative and perseverance. And then we have confidence. So starting off with commercial awareness or business acumen, this is a number one skill that you need to have, mainly because beyond the initial review of someone's resume, you have to be able to talk the talk and walk the walk. So if you are looking to apply for a consulting job, or if you're looking to apply for an accounting job, finance job, engineering job, science-based job, you have to know what's going on in the environment. You have to be able to demonstrate some level of passion for the environment that you're looking to go into. So you have to actually go out, take some initiative, and read about things that are happening in your environment. You can't go into an interview and not understand what is presently happening in the field that you're interested in. So for the sake of business, you have to be able to understand what this global pandemic is doing to the current economic environment. So in the sense that the stock markets go down, businesses potentially fail, the oil prices are fluctuating, you have to have some level of knowledge on what is going on. And again, there's a lot of resources out there for you to learn and understand what is actually happening. This includes the newspaper, particular one, or online webinars like the one you're taking right now, or even looking at articles online on LinkedIn. And again, this is specific to an actual sector itself. So in fact, if you are in the engineering environment, or if you're looking into the sciences or computer science, something like that, you have to be able to learn and understand what's going on. So for the sake of the sciences, you have to like learn and understand what new technologies are evolving, what new innovative products are coming out. For engineering, you have to learn about new methods, new technologies that are being utilized to enhance the current construction or engineering norms effectively. And for business, we have a current recession right now, so you have to be able to understand what's going on. You have to go out there and understand what is actually occurring so that you can actually talk about it when you're in an interview setting, or even when you're doing networking based events. Because when you have the ability to talk about these things, it makes you appear that you're significantly more experienced than you might be on paper. If you're the more experienced, obviously you are, the better. But even if you don't have that experience, if you're well read and well versed in the subject that you're a part of, that demonstrates passion, because you obviously have taken the time and the initiative to go out of your way and learn about the particular things that are impacting the environment and the career that you're looking to go into. And that shows off significantly better than experience in any form or fashion once you get past and get to that face-to-face based environment, when you have that conversation with the individual, such as the hiring manager or the person that would potentially be your boss one day. So that's why commercial awareness or business acumen is the number one skill that you should have. And it's developed effectively by just going out there and learning and reading and understanding the environment that your career is situated in. So again, for business, it would be the economic environment right now. For science, it'd be new and innovative technology. Same with engineering, just sort of different types of technologies that are particularly out there. And for all the other degrees that each of you are taking, it's any number of things that are evolving in the space at the particular time. Because if you go into an interview and have no ability to talk about current events, then that is going to make it so much more difficult for you, because it'll be harder for you to develop a conversation with the individual and harder for you to develop that connection. And that bridges into the second most popular skill that hiring managers are looking for, and that's communication. Okay, this can be in the form of written content as well as verbal-based content, because even if you're the smartest man in the room, if you're unable to communicate those thoughts, ideas, and or plans or strategies, nobody's going to be able to benefit from any of them. So you have to be able to communicate at a high enough level so that you can communicate those abstract thoughts, ideas, plans, strategies to the other individual in a clear and concise manner. So that means even when you're developing your resume, you have to have the ability to communicate in a very clear and concise manner, so that you can, in the written form, so that the hiring manager can understand your skill set, even in the summation of a couple of sentences. And then when you get to that interview process, you'll be able to communicate even all of that commercial awareness or business acumen, whatever it is that you might know in terms of the knowledge of the field, to that other individual. Because if you can't communicate, then your ideas are effectively worthless. So this might be particularly hard for individual that might not have English as the first language. Say if you're looking to have a career in Canada or the United States, and if you are particularly from China. But that is okay, but you just have to effectively work on those English abilities and that language skills so that you can develop your ability to communicate. And again, domestic speakers and even individuals who have English as a native language might not necessarily be the strongest at communicating in the English language. So don't feel bad and don't feel too handicapped because you might not be a fluent first language speaker. But you might have to put a little bit more effort into it. And that's really just, coming down to the fact that you have to take the initiative to go out there and learn those particular skills. So in the sense that, you might have to develop a blog or write articles on whatever particular thing that interests you, that will enhance your written capabilities. And then even when you're in school, effectively, you don't want to shy away from doing those presentations, because there's a lot of group projects, there's a lot of individuals that are out there that you have to put together a presentation or a project or an idea or a case study, and then there's obviously that presentation component, but you can't shy away from that. You got to get out there and constantly do it, because the only way that you get better is by doing it. So by volunteering or taking the initiative and the stand to be the one that actually takes the forefront of those activities, you have to go out there and do it. That'll increase your ability to actually get better at presenting, because then either the nerves will go away or your English language capabilities will get better and your communication skills will improve. Beyond that, there's any number of workshops that are out there. I know in Ontario and in Canada, there's a program called Toastmasters. That is something that is hosted across the country. People go there so that they can increase their public speaking ability in an environment that is safe and encouraging, so that people provide constructive feedback, and they have to present on any number one of topics. So I always recommend that particular program, mainly because it is an excellent program for public speaking, and people really benefit from the sort of the environment that they're in, because it is encouraging and it's specifically designed for individuals that want to get better at public speaking and their communication skills. In addition to that, volunteering, whether it might be at, any number one of jobs or opportunities that are out there, the more that you get out there and the more that you communicate with individuals, the better that you'll be. Now, the next one is teamwork. So teamwork skills are often really hard to demonstrate when it comes to sort of a one-on-one interview, because you can demonstrate this by doing, whereas communication and business acumen, you can convey that skill set in a one-on-one environment. So therefore, teamwork skills are a little harder to. So you need to have experience that you can talk about that demonstrates your teamwork strength or your ability to work in teams well. So any number of activities that you can potentially do, such as internships, part-time jobs, volunteering, or joining a committee, any of those things where you work in a team-based environment, as long as you constantly expose yourself to that, you'll get better and better at working with teams. Now, when it comes to working with teams, it's not necessarily just, being in a group and then, getting through an activity such as, like a course or a project that you're working on through school, but it's really elevating at that second level where you can cohesively work with the team itself. Now, what that means is not just necessarily delegating work amongst a team and then going your separate ways, coming back together and stitching something like a project together where everybody has siloed their own work, but by actually utilizing the strengths and weaknesses of the other members of the team itself and creating a more powerful, comprehensive project. So in the sense that you've all worked together throughout the process and properly communicated ideas, and developed something that is better than the sum of its parts. So when it comes to that teamwork, you have to be able to work with the team rather than, working individually, but as part of a team. If everybody can understand that, it's more so utilizing the synergies of the individuals in the group by amplifying the end project. So that's the gist of sort of developing those proper teamwork skills. And again, there's a number of methods to go out there and constantly develop them and reach out and use the opportunities that the school gives you, whether it's again through those volunteering-based positions or those committees that at the school, because again, there's a number of committees at pretty much every school in the country, such as like the real estate club or the finance club or even the student ambassador program, whatever it might be. But being involved in those particular programs only enhances your ability to work well with teams and work well with others, and it gives you the experience that you can talk about in that interview. Because again, demonstrating teamwork skills is a difficult thing to do. But the more experience that you have, it's the more things that you can call on when you're talking to somebody in an interview-based environment that you can talk about. So the more things that you can talk about, the better. The next thing would be problem solving. So problem solving skills is effectively you having limited resources and having the ability to formulate solutions to particular problems without being told exactly what to do. So this is probably an incredibly important skill for business-based environment, mainly because a lot of business-based jobs, you're essentially just given a bunch of information and then you have to formulate your own conclusions at the end of the day when it comes to business analyst-based activities. So problem-solving skills is something that individuals have to learn by doing, because the more times that you face problems and the more times you can develop your own particular solutions, or even by observing other people completing problem sets, you can understand the array of solutions that are available for any particular problem. Because the more problems that you solve and the more solutions that you see, the more creative you're able to be based on the problem itself. So in terms of being able to see more problems that, in their potential solutions, you can do any number one of things, such as like even joining school competitions. So a lot of business-based programs and engineering-based programs have sort of case-based competitions where um, they present their own particular cases based on a problem set that's developed by these institutions, such as like even the Schulich School of Business has the Developers Den. So it's a real estate focused development case-based competition where they're given a particular case set and they have to develop a solution for a third-party company within, say, a 4-hour period, and then present them in front of a third-party round of judges. So these are like an excellent use of problem-solving skills and an excellent demonstration of them, because you have to go out there with a team, utilize teamwork skills, and develop a solution to a particular problem that a real-world client is having, and present that idea to a third-party panel that ends up being judged. So you have to really leverage the different types of opportunities and different types of competitions that are available to you while you're at school, and even outside of school. There's a number of these different types of competitions that are actually out there, and just participating in them and constantly doing them will only sharpen your problem solving skills and your ability to formulate creative solutions to new and unique problems. Another way to develop these problem solving skills is, even through mentorship, because when you mentor people, you're going to be constantly facing problems. And this is individuals that are younger than you. So even if you're in third year, you might have the ability to be a TA, or, even just be a mentor to a sort of a first year student type of thing. Or even if you're outside of school, I know there's still a lot of mentorship programs and TA-based programs, but you are going to have to, provide some form of leadership, provide some sort of guidance to an individual that is going through, their own unique problems. And so therefore, you get to observe their particular problems, and you're the one that's going to be having to formulate your own particular guidance for these individuals. So this is only going to, again, amplify your problem solving skills, because you're going to be constantly seeing more and more problems from a different perspective than your own. So that's why I always recommend for individuals to do mentorship programs when they can, because then they have the ability to see problems from a different perspective, because it's an individual that's asking for their particular guidance or for your particular guidance that then you have to formulate a response to, so that you can help them out and guide them through whatever particular course they're having troubles with, or career-based problems that they're having trouble with in terms of internships or applications. And then again, that comes back to you, because when you're a teacher and when you're in a teaching-based environment, it's a different angle than you being a student and solving a problem, because you're then now a teacher solving a problem for another individual, and you get to see it from both ends of that spectrum. The next skill I'd say is, again, leadership. Again, a lot of these skills correlate with each other. They all work very well together. And when you are taking that initiative and reaching out there to sort of develop your own skill set, you get better at those abilities as well. So again, leadership, taking charge of something, like whatever it might be, you got to take charge of something. Whether that, again, is forming a club within your school, starting a podcast, starting a blog, whatever it might be, that's demonstrating your leadership skills, and that's an intrinsic ability that everyone looks for, because nobody wants to hire somebody just for like a random position. They want to see like the future potential of an individual, and leadership skills are often one of the most important things that they have. So by taking charge, by reaching out, by doing new things and taking that initiative, that's really showing your leadership skills. So you got to go out there, you got to take charge of particular things when you can, when you feel comfortable. So you don't want to do it in an environment where you don't necessarily feel the most comfortable as like sort of a first time thing, unless you have those developed innate leadership skills. But by going out there, by starting something new, whatever it might be, regardless of whether potential failure that you might have in that environment, as long as you're financially safe and you're physically safe, by taking that initiative to start something or be a part of something or whatever that might be, that demonstrates leadership skills. That demonstrates the innate ability of you to rise above and the ability for you to create something from scratch, because creating things from scratch is probably the hardest thing that you can do, but it takes great innate leadership skills in order to put that foot forward and move in that particular direction. Now, when it comes to initiative and perseverance, and again, as I mentioned, a lot of these correlate well with each other. You in order to start any of this, in order to start the development of any of these activities and any of these skills, you're the one that's going to do it, because at the end of the day, you're only accountable to yourself, and you're the only person that you can change. You cannot change anyone else in the entire world. The only person that you have control over is yourself. So you have to take full responsibility for your own skill development. So you got to be the one that goes out there, takes the risk, and does something. Whether that's increasing your communication skills by going to Toastmasters or other like-minded groups where you're forced to do public speaking, or even taking an improv class at a local comedy club. That will increase your communication skills, and your confidence in your ability to perform on stage in front of a wide range of people, which will translate to the career and work-based environment. Because if you can stand on stage in front of 50 people and tell jokes or say a speech or something, you can definitely do that in a boardroom in front of clients. It's no problem. And you taking the initiative to start that blog, to increase your written word ability, or even read the newspaper so that you can then learn more about the environment that your career is in. That's you taking initiative, okay? When it comes to perseverance, is that you continuing to do that task, even in the face of failure. Even if you do go to Toastmasters and you make a fool out of yourself, let's say, or you read a particular article and you might not understand it at all. It might be completely over your head, but it's pushing past that, recognizing that failure is okay, and continuing to do it until you master it effectively. So that even comes to, when you're doing teamwork, you might not necessarily be able to lead a team very well, or you might not be able to work in a team very well in terms of working with others. But by constantly doing it and, understanding and self-reflecting that some things will always go wrong, but understanding those problems and fixing them or improving on them, that's the perseverance that people look for. Because that's why entrepreneurs are heavily looked at as very favorable people, because they started something from scratch, they built something up, they made something new, which is an incredibly difficult thing to do, and that demonstrates initiative and perseverance incredibly well. So This is a very difficult skill to be able to communicate with others. But when you do, that shows that you are significantly further ahead than anyone else in the pack because you have that ability to do things, to get better at them, to learn, to grow effectively. Because if you can demonstrate to the hiring manager that you have significant capacity to grow, then those are people that definitely are going to be able to increase in the organization because they want people that they can hire that are going to be promoted and stay within because they're going to show you inside information. They're going to teach you the ways of the organization and teach you the ways of the business. And they want you to stay there because they don't want to have to teach somebody else, but they want you to be constantly promoted and they want you to move up so that you can, continue using that knowledge to the benefit of the organization. The last skill that I'll talk about is confidence. So when you round up these remaining 6 skills, having confidence is probably an incredibly important indicator because you can't um, get yourself down in the space of failure on whatever activity it is that you're doing and whatever skill it is that you're trying to develop. You have to be able to accept those failures and move forward and move ahead. Because if you come across as an incredibly confident individual, even if you make mistakes in the conversations that you make or even in the analysis that you do, as long as you project confidence towards the individual, it'll be okay and it'll drastically change the outcome of the situation. This is incredibly important for sales-based individuals, but it's also incredibly important for any other individual in any other job function. If you're able to project confidence in whatever it is that you're communicating, people will listen, people will follow, and people will generally favor your idea compared to an individual that has less confidence than you, even if it might be a better idea. So, confidence would be one of the most important things that you can have because it's your trust in yourself effectively. As long as you have the ability to trust in yourself and your own abilities and skills, that's what projects confidence. So, the only way to effectively develop confidence is to be able to, you know, trust your own abilities to be able to accomplish whatever task it might be. And that's usually done through the development of your skills and, making yourself proud of yourself effectively. And that, dips into a bit more psychological territory, but having that confidence is key in order to convey yourself, whether it's even a resume format, interview format, and even in the general working environment. Having that confidence is completely critical to your success. So that wraps up our webinar today. If anybody has any questions, I recommend you please put them in the chat. We'll go through them. If anybody wants to have a consultation, we offer those as well. 30-minute consultations. We go through your complete career background and give you free advice pretty much on anything that you want to do. And that's it. If anybody has any questions, please put them in the chat now. Then we'll have approximately 5 minutes for those. Yeah, I see the question, is there any online volunteering opportunities? There are a number of online volunteering opportunities, but they are harder to find. It depends on what type of volunteering that you actually want to do. So whether that might be helping people with their taxes or just helping people with general data work. But that would be like there's a lot of online internships, especially now, mainly because the economy is shut down. You could have an internship at any number one of organizations, but you got to have sort of a network that you can rely on or you can back onto. But if you talk to individuals, you might be able to find those opportunities. But for the most part, a lot of volunteer opportunities, such as helping people in food kitchens, a lot of those are sort of in person and a little harder to do. Unpaid internships are probably the number one thing that you can do in terms of volunteer effectively, which will help you gain a bit of experience. It might not be the fact that you're giving back to society in a particular sense like other volunteers, but um, those options are definitely available. Another question, can you tell us more about having confidence? Yeah, so in terms of having confidence, you just have to have, again, trust in your own abilities and understand where you are in the effective, like the pyramid of life, effectively, in the sense that you are, most of you are probably recent graduates or soon to be graduates. You're not expected to know everything, okay? So even when you do not know something, it is okay, and it's okay to effectively say that you do not know something in a particular instance. But when you do know something, it's the ability to project that in a very confident and serious manner, especially when you do know that particular subject. So if I'm going to say for business students that end up knowing a lot about what's going on, they know the economic implications. And when you're talking to somebody that might be, say a VP or a director level position, don't be nervous about talking to them about, the economy or even their own particular business, because they understand where you are. They know that you might not know all the inside facts or the inside information, but the fact that you are willing to engage in that topic and you're willing to pick it up is wonderful, because a lot of people want to know about that. They want to know that you're interested and passionate about a particular topic. So by um, going out there and talking about it and engaging in those conversations is demonstrating that you have that passion, that you have that drive, and that you have that confidence, because you're going out there and starting something with them, whether it's an engagement, a particular conversation, whatever it might be. It's you having that ability, and that you trust in yourself and the knowledge that you know. Because again, the more knowledge that you know and the more knowledge that you're confident in, the greater the ability that you are able to project that confidence onto other people. So again, you have to think about it in the sense that when you go have a conversation with somebody, like whatever it is that you might be passionate about. So it might be your favorite movie or something, and you've watched it 5 times. You can confidently talk about any part of that movie with anybody that you want to, because you know it inside and out because you've watched it. That's the same with the business environment. That's the same with the engineering environment. That's the same with the science environment. If you've researched something and you know stuff inside and out, you can confidently project that in an engaged conversation with whoever it is that you're talking to. So if you don't feel confident about a particular thing, whatever it might be, you got to go out there and either research it or practice it until you feel that it is something that is intrinsic to you and that can just roll off the cuff and it's super easy. Because a lot of confidence issues comes from lack of experience and lack of knowledge on a particular topic. Because again, if you don't know something or you don't think that you know something, whatever it might be, whatever the topic might be, even in the economic environment, you won't come off as confident because you're gonna be afraid of potentially being called off as wrong. But that's easily solved by going out there, researching and understanding the topic itself through and through, so that you can, come off in a very confident manner. It's the same with just talking with people or networking with people. You can only get better at it by constantly doing it. So even if you might not come off confident as doing small talk or reaching out for coffee chats, whatever that might be, or even phone call chats right now, don't do coffee chats. By doing it, you'll get better, you'll get more confident, because you'll have exposed yourself to more experiences, and then you'll have more time to self-reflect on sort of the bad experiences that you might have had, and therefore you're only going to generally have positive experiences from here on out. Another question that we have, and we'll do the last question right here. If I encounter some difficult questions that I cannot answer in the interview, like how to deal with difficult situations at work, What should I do? Generally, you should have, for all of those basic HR related questions, you should have an answer to them. Like, what's your greatest strength? What's your greatest weakness? Name a time that you've had teamwork abilities. That's the importance of understanding your own experience and your own background, because you have to have some ability to, rationalize a time where you've had a difficult conversation, or you've had to deal with a difficult team member. Everybody's had that situation happen to them. So you have to be able to pull on that information, pull on that experience, and talk about it. Okay. Um, for some of the more abstract ones, where they might ask you about a particular industry fact or something like that, it is okay to say that you don't know, because it is significantly better to say that you do not know than to make something up on the spot. So if you don't feel confident about a particular fact, like, say, if you're in a business environment, they might ask you what the stock market is at today, or what it was at yesterday, or what the price of oil is. And if you do not know the particular thing, you're more than fine to say that you don't know, because again, that shows confidence in your ability to not make something up, not to lie about something, because again, you might get caught in that lie because they might be looking for that. But saying you don't know is absolutely okay. When it comes to the HR based questions, where they ask you for an experience that you've had, like resolving a problem or something like that, those are things that you want to be able to answer, like regardless of whatever question that might be, because that's a very open ended question that allows you to pull on pretty much any experience that you've had. And therefore you have to be able to answer that, because again, you've lived for like 20-ish odd years. You should be able to have an experience where you've had to deal with a difficult team member. So just understanding the experience that you've gone through will more than help you answer pretty much any one of those HR related questions. For fact-based questions, it's definitely okay to say that you don't know for a particular instance. But again, if you're going into an interview for business or real estate or finance or whatever it might be, having that commercial knowledge and understanding of the economic environment will help you answer those fact-based questions and pretty much any other question that they might ask you in the interview. Now, that's pretty much everything for today. I hope everybody found this helpful. We are going to be posting this online. So for those of you that might have had connection problems, we will be posting this on YouTube and through WeChat and through the social channels. If you found this helpful, please like and share with your friends. Hopefully, somebody else can find something helpful out of this. Wish you guys all the best. Wish you guys have a great night and a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.